Good morning. I am on a new adventure. Very excited. Good morning. Heading to Pittsburgh from Washington, D.C. This is quite the adventure. Taking the Canal Towpath and then connecting to the Gap Trail in Cumberland. Just starting, leaving D.C. and after a few minor detours in downtown Georgetown, I think I'm on the trail and things are looking good. Weather is wonderful, blue skies, temperature in the upper 60s, and I'm excited. So here is the river, and here on the right is what used to be the canal. It's quite dry now. I'm sure I'll get to areas that are a little wetter than this, and this is the path. Okay, this area has a lot more water, finally. So this is day one of the ride, and I'm hoping to make it to Brunswick or Harpers Ferry, but somewhere around there. It's gonna be roughly, with the ride in DC, roughly 65 miles. Here is one of those locks. There are a few of those along the canal, and this is one. It has a tree that fell on it, but it's still there. There's a lock keeper house. This was another lock. I think this is lock number 2. This is lock number 3, maybe 4, not sure. The Park Services is working on renovating parts of the canal, so there are some detours that I need to dismount to get back to the trail, but no problem. This is a little bit of a wider part of the canal and quite beautiful. Lots of lock. Super cool.
How are you? But obviously you can't navigate this river. Have you seen this river?
Potomac?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've watched most of it.
Okay, going to examine the mules. These are the mules that carried the boats, or at least their ancestors did. Okay, time to get back onto the towpath. Well, you don't get to see too many of those boats on the canal. This is super cool. Gorgeous, check it out. Canal on the right, forest on both sides. Just incredible. I'm about halfway to Brunswick, which is where I'm hoping to be camping tonight. This is a gravel road, and as I'm loaded with all my gear, I'm averaging about 12 or 13 miles per hour. Another lock and another lock keeper house. I have a non-scientific observation. It seems as if East Coast or maybe Washington cyclists are not as friendly as West Coast. I've been saying hi to folks and cyclists just don't wave back. It's a little odd, but maybe it's just me, maybe I smell. Getting closer to Brunswick, the views are still unreal. Look at this crazy forest. And the wildlife is amazing, as you may have seen. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I am riding on the Canal Towpath. This is where the mules used to tow the barges that carried mostly coal from Cumberland to DC and other goods. And there were families, as I understand it, that this was their profession. The kids were the one to lead the mules along this towpath. I am approaching the town of Brunswick, and I think there is a cool campground here that I'm hoping to get a spot on. Let's go check it out. So this campsite I'm in is quite nice. It is on the river, as you just saw, and on the trail, like literally on the trail. So that was very easy, and it's just about a mile away from town, so that made dinner very easy as well. And I think I'm gonna wrap things up and go to sleep. It's 7:30, past my bedtime. Good night. This is the morning of day 2, and as you can see, I left very early. I am already about 10-15 minutes on the road, And back on the trail, heading to Harpers Ferry, where I think everything will still be closed, but I just want to see the town a little bit. And then from there to Shepherdstown, where hopefully I'll grab some coffee, and then meeting my friend David in Williamsport midday. Approaching the turn to Harpers Ferry.
Appalachian National Scenic Trail.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to climb some steps with the bike. Let's see how tough this is gonna be, man. Oh boy. It's not easy. Definitely not easy. The bike is super heavy. Crossing the river to Harpers Ferry now. Very beautiful. Sunrise is behind me. And these stairs were a little tough, but I made it. Entered West Virginia. Very exciting. So this is Harpers Ferry. Unbelievably beautiful. I'm so glad I made it. Okay, done with breakfast. Heading back to the bridge. This town, I truly think, is one of the most picturesque towns in the US. It is absolutely incredible. Look at this. Okay, so taking those same bloody stairs, but now down, which is even more difficult, I think. Back on the trail, had an amazing breakfast at Harpers Ferry, the most picturesque town in North America, in my opinion. And now back on the trail. Same routine, canal on my right, the river on my left, and just another beautiful day. It really is hard to express how beautiful this is. You have some fall leaves that already fell and are on the ground, greenery all around you. There are no cars to be seen in miles, as this is the path, you know, the towpath, so no cars are allowed. It is just amazing. Really, really cool. And it's flat, so I've been averaging today anywhere from 14 to 15 miles per hour. Another lock and another lock house. This is lock 37. So this part is just lovely. There's this concrete surface, really nice, and the river to my left doesn't get any nicer than this. I know that yesterday I complained about East Coast riders not being very friendly. Well, today they're friendly, so I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, I am heading again to Williamsport, where I'm meeting my friend David for lunch, and then we're gonna ride together towards Hancock. Okay, so leaving the trail to go have lunch in Williamsport. Hey, you want to say hello to the camera? So David, how much do you spend on that beer per week?
Not enough. Not long enough.
How much time and how much money? I need some answers.
Grab the beer.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen us over that big. Heading to a motel. I secured a cheap motel for the evening and heading to the motel here in Hancock. And then for dinner there's a biking themed restaurant with a museum that I'm gonna head over to.
Turn right onto South Pennsylvania.
So this is day 3 and I'm in downtown Hancock heading to a bike trail that goes parallel to the C&O for just a few miles, as it is nicely paved. Coming up on the turn to the Western Maryland Rail Trail, which again runs parallel to the C&O Canal, is nicely paved, and I'm going to be on that for a few miles and then reconnect to the towpath. Good morning. Again, this is the morning of day 3, leaving Hancock and heading towards Frostburg, which is just north of Cumberland. Cumberland is where the C&O Canal Towpath ends and the gap begins, so I'm going to be riding for just around 16 miles on the gap today and then call it a day. It's going to be the gap all the way. The weather today is nice, but starting tomorrow morning it may storm, may rain, and as the name implies, and similar to the gap, this too is a rail trail. An area that used to have a railroad. The rails have been taken out. Now there's asphalt, and it is absolutely beautiful. Surrounded by trees, nice and cool weather, and heading in the direction of Pittsburgh. This rail trail is incredible. The views are amazing. It still is early morning, so it still is quite cold. Nice biking weather. So this is the end of the rail trail, and now connecting back to the C&O Canal Towpath. Looks very familiar. Beautiful old railroad bridge. So this section of the canal is actually full of water, and one can actually see how this system worked. I'm on the towpath where the mules were, just connecting with a rope to the barges on the canal and towing them away, towing them along. This is usually been a load of coal coming from Pennsylvania to DC, but there were other goods as well. And I can just imagine this is not an easy life. Approaching the Popo Tunnel, which is one of the highlights of this route. I think, if I recall correctly, it's about 3,100 feet in length, and I'm looking forward to going through it. And here it is. Wow, very, very exciting. Okay, I'm gonna stop, snap a couple of pictures, and then turn my lights on and head in. Okay, so here we go. I'm excited. Another piece of trivia is that the tunnel is made out of 6 million, I think it's 6 million bricks that were all laid by hand. One of the things that amazes me along this towpath is how clean it is. It really is remarkable. No litter at all. Despite the fact that there are so many visitors, so many campers and cyclists and just pedestrians, no litter, and I love it. It really is. This is how it should be. So it's beautiful. Another aqueduct. And this time I'm riding inside it. Coming up to another lock. This one is in the 60s. I'll tell you in a second which lock it is. There are these little signs that tell me which number this lock is. So this is lock number 69. And as you can see, this is part one of it. And then there's another part a little further down, right over there. Here we go, the climb towards lock number 70. So every few miles, a couple of miles or so, there are these mileposts. But this one is a little special. This is mile 174, which means that I am just 10 miles or 10 miles and change from the end of the towpath.
Another one of the cool antique locks, and the lock keeper little house. Just a few miles from Cumberland. I'm already, I guess, in city limits or something. You can see houses that are right by the canal. This is the very last mile of the C&O Canal Towpath. Looking forward to seeing the final granite mile marker, and after that maybe a quick bite and starting the gap. So this is the city of Cumberland, downtown Cumberland. Looks very beautiful. Here it is, 184.5. So yeah, the towpath is done, all done. So now I'm heading to the beginning of the gap, take a couple of pictures there, and go grab a bite somewhere, as I am super hungry.